All right, I think we are live. So, hello everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're super excited because um, we are celebrating the launch of the AI Marketing Show Season 2, and we're gonna give it just a couple of minutes for everyone to join. But just to give you a quick introduction of what we've been doing and what we've been up to. In this season, we have recorded 5 episodes, and we've had some incredible deep dives on AI for product marketing. Product management marketing. We've talked about LLMs. We've talked about AI SEO. We've talked about AI adoption, AI agents, AI emails, and even AI ads. And today we're gonna remix it up a little bit. The first thing that I'm going to ask everyone to do, if everyone could give us like a really quick brief introduction, and then as you're doing that, also describe um, an AI marketing, like what AI marketing means in one word. And the guests that we have here today, I'll just start going in order. So everyone here has been a guest of the show, and they have been so awesome and in sharing all these really great insights in their respective fields. So we're really excited to have you here. I'll start going. The person right next to me is Todd. So Todd, could you give us a quick intro and also brief, like in one word, what does AI marketing mean to you?
Hello, I'm Todd. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Gumshoe. We're a platform that helps brands understand what LLMs think about them and what to do about it in the world of AI search. And if I were thinking about AI marketing, I think the one word I would use is speed.
That's good. Yeah, that's really good. Um, Aquibir, I'll go with you next.
Yeah. Thanks, Isabella, for doing this. Hey, everyone. My name is Akibur. I'm the founder and CEO of MailModo. MailModo is like lovable for email marketing. You can do complete email marketing automation from co- email creation to journey automation with just prompts. And we also do interactive emails where you can add forms, quiz, games, all within the email to increase email conversions. The one word for AI marketing would be speed.
Nice, awesome. Speed and speed. Michelle, over to you.
I feel like it's like too fast, too furious, which I feel it in my day to day life anyway. But hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Niebring. I am a director of product marketing at a company called Treasure Data, and we are a customer data platform. But we're also doing a ton of stuff with AI, which, talk about like good data builds good AI. I get to kind of witness that firsthand by leading our AI charge. So building agents, building suites, what are agent to agent interactions in the MarTech world, or how does MCP work, where you can let your LLMs talk to your customer data, kind of all the things. So it's fun to be in the middle of that, but also using AI in my day to day just to make my life a lot easier to increase speed and efficiency of all the things that I'm doing. So I try a lot of tools. I have fun with a lot of tools, and I'm excited to learn more from this group. If I had to choose one word, I would say exciting. I mean, yes, absolutely speed comes with it, but productivity. I mean, there's the good, the bad, the ugly when it comes to AI, but overall, I'm very excited for it. So I'll say exciting.
That's awesome. Exciting, speed and speed. Andres, over to you.
Hi, Isabella, and yeah, thanks for having me. I'm co-founder and director of marketing at SuperAds. SuperAds is an AI-powered platform that allows you to analyze and track all your paid campaigns. Companies typically use us to analyze their Meta, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube ad campaigns. If I had to pick a word, I think I would go with the favorite one so far. Yeah, I would go with speed. Yeah.
Great.
Speed. Yeah, it's true. Market AI and marketing does definitely accelerate things. So we have speed, speed, exciting speed. Um, so just to kind of go now to the next section, we're gonna do a little bit of rapid fire questions. So starting with Todd, if AI were a marketing intern, what's the first job that you'd give it?
Amusingly enough, I would say they should um, understand AI search on their companies, what Gumshoe does. Because in effect, right, when I said earlier, we help brands understand what LLMs think about them, and it's a great way to understand the landscape. And like when you use Gumshoe, it helps you pull up what AI is thinking about your products and your competitive set, and then we generate a series of prompts which allow you to explore what the LLMs are effectively answering for different personas and different customer sets. So from a learning and market research perspective, it's actually a great way to learn what the heck is this business that I'm now interning for? What am I learning about? And how do I learn about the competitive landscape? How do I learn about the features and benefits of my product? And so you can learn all of that by looking at the chats that we generate on behalf of brands in terms of the prompts that are generated and reading those answers. And so it's a great starting point to learn about a business.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is true. Going over to Akbar, how do you think AI has affected email marketing and its future?
Yeah, I think that businesses don't have excuse not to spam people, because with AI they can personalize each and every email for each and every user, and they can send emails according to the relevancy and the need of the user, and not just spam the same email to everyone.
Spam is big, yes.
What's amazing though on the email topic, Akbar, is, and I made this comment, I think, Isabella, you noticed this. I said online, the challenge with email automation is we're all now getting a million emails and our inboxes are getting flooded. And I was at a dinner with other AI startups and founders and CEOs, and we were talking about how if you're selling SaaS, it's almost like getting someone to respond to an email is like catfishing. Like it's
Yeah,
hard. How do you get that one in a million person to actually, like, because we're all now getting thousands and thousands of emails, and so it's kind of amusing to sort of, and I don't disagree with your point about maybe personalization is the way to do that, but it's going to be becoming quite an art to get someone else to respond. And so someone said, sounds like catfishing, right? Can you get someone to, in the world to respond to your random email? And so I thought that was kind of amusing of, where the world's headed and what we think about it in terms of email marketing. And so it's
I,
interesting to sort of think about that.
I think it is going to see definitely some ups and downs in the email industry, with a lot of people sending a lot of irrelevant emails, and then many of them will not see results, and only those people will remain who will just send relevant and useful emails to people.
And you know, the one of the best ways to overcome that is by sharing valuable content to
Absolutely.
whoever's reading your emails. Um, yeah, this is interesting. Michelle, going over to you now. What is the funniest ways marketers have misused ChatGPT?
I mean, M dashes everywhere. I just love opening LinkedIn and being like, oh, if you see this and this and this, it's like obviously AI generated. I'm like, okay, I mean, fair, but I think I've seen a lot of emails that there was an attempt to use AI, right, for personalization, which we've been talking about forever. But there's been a couple we'll go back to emails where it hasn't been filled in. So like the thought for using the agent to fill in certain, you know, piece parts about me or like change a value prop from what they know about me, the idea is great, but the execution is poor. So I'll get an email that has, covered in hashtags and like areas where they were supposed to put in the content, but it hasn't been filled in. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I've been there, and first name personalization was a thing and, had to send the oops, sorry message. Like we've all been there. But it's
Yeah.
almost getting worse. Like the potential is there with AI, but the execution sometimes falls flat. So that's always been fun. And then the other thing I would say is just some of the images, like image generation I've seen AI generated commercials that are hilarious. Like the faces are warped or the hands just melt into each other. I don't know, we're getting there. But there's still the ways to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a funny use case too. We'll share. We'll share soon. um,
I, I see a,
so
I see a lot of LinkedIn comments on my post which are clearly AI generated. I don't know these people who are commenting on some of the posts, and they just comment like, and there will be whole paragraph, and the whole paragraph is just AI generated, and it like feels very funny that I don't feel even to respond to that.
I actually had a thread with another guy on LinkedIn, and all we did was take inappropriate LinkedIn AI suggested responses to each other, just as an amusing back and forth to like how inappropriate we could sort of make it go as a back and forth. And I think that's your point of it can be very amusing when AI is generating things. As an aside, in a similar vein, I think one of the funniest things is when you can see marketers asking AI for advice, and if any of you haven't seen the South Park episode from earlier this fall, where Stan Marsh's dad, Randy, falls in love with like ChatGPT because all it does is flatter him and say how all his new business ideas are great and fantastic. And so I think that's the other thing is if marketers ask ChatGPT for advice, they're going to get a bunch of advice that says how wonderful they are and how smart they are, and every idea they have is great. So it'll be amusing to see the things that come strategically out of ChatGPT as people seek it for advice, and really all it wants to do is flatter you.
I mean, that's funny to me because I've almost gone too far in the opposite. I'm like, be my biggest critic, like super critical, and it's like, oh, game on. It's both sides of the coin, which is funny. But I mean, you're right. It's been like, you go. This is the best strategy I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, no, it's hilarious, and South Park does a great job of playing into it. It's pretty funny, so everyone should go look at it. I think it was the season premiere, and it's hilarious in terms of once you see it, you're like, oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, it's really funny. I think there was a study done, I think by Florida State University, that actually was finding that people were speaking more like AI now.
I'm not surprised. There's kind of an interesting another similar analogy, which is Rudy Giuliani when he was a U.S. attorney went after the mob, and you started hearing, and this is like the 80s and 90s, and they started as they did wiretaps on mobsters, they started talking more and more like they did in The Sopranos. And so it's sort of the same thing when people hear things, they just start imitating it. And so I'm not surprised that people are speaking like AI, but the mobsters doing like Sopranos was another example of like this is sort of a tale as old as time.
That's funny. And let me just take a quick pause here. I would like to also introduce Shafiq. He just joined. I don't know, Shafiq, if you can turn your camera on, but Shafiq was also here for one of the episodes. And really quick, if you are able to unmute and if you could turn your camera on, that would be awesome too. And kind of just share really quick, brief intro and describe what AI marketing means to you in one word.
Sure, Isabella. Thanks for having me. So I'm still in the aircraft. I was supposed to land in 90 minutes before. Because of bad weather, I got delayed, so I'll take some time to on my camera. But yeah, thanks for having me. I know the Mailmodo team for quite some time now. Um, yeah, I think you said that I should introduce myself as well, right?
Yes.
So I've been into SaaS marketing for about 10 years now. Started in content, then moved to product marketing. I lead the product marketing function at Garrix, which is a CPaaS company. Apart from this, I also run a community of SaaS marketers called S11S, which is based out of India, but essentially caters to the like has people from across the world. It has about 4,500 members. It is on Slack. So yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. And so right now what we were doing is we were doing a quick rapid fire. So I just have two more questions. The next one is for Andres. Which part of performance marketing do you wish AI could take up on your behalf?
I guess that selfishly, I really want to see AI video generation continue to improve, be able to actually prompt and utilize AI videos that are able to outperform regular normal videos that really have a big production process and so on. Of course, as a human, I'm not sure if I'm that excited about not being able to distinguish AI generated videos from real videos. But yeah, I guess that's, yeah, as a performance marketer, selfishly, I would like to see AI UGC videos that are able to outperform normal UGC videos, for example.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Content creation, research process, be able to, yeah, that would be extremely useful. Not sure when we will get that, but I think that eventually we will hit that point. Yeah.
Absolutely. And going back to you, Shafiq, what's the most overrated AI buzzword right now?
Yeah, for me, I think this is agentic AI. Uh, a lot of people keep using this term, and this is sort of ambiguous in nature. So if you ask 10 people what agentic AI means to them, you will get 10 different answers. And this is something that I have tried. And I've also tried, like I was at an event today, and one of the panelists said introduce their platform as, it's an agentic AI platform. And when we were off the stage, I asked them, what do you mean by this? And what they were saying was things like automation, things like workflows, which is something that has been in place for the last 5 years or more, right?
Mhm.
So essentially, this kind of a thing, right, wherein, there's something that gets catches on and is being talked about more often than not, picks up, and people generally don't have like a common sense of understanding of what it is. So agentic AI, when I hear it from somebody, I have my own doubt whether what they're talking about is something that they understand or it's just a buzzword that they are using.
Yeah, everything's an agent nowadays, right? Everything. That's an agent, that's an agent, everything's an agent. That's a good one. Um, so moving into a little bit of a hot take now. Going back to you, Todd. LLMs will level the SEO playing field, and it's going to make it more challenging for large brands to maintain their dominance. Do you agree or disagree?
It is more of a green field, and it resets the search landscape. I think to your point, because it's not the problem with SEO was that backlinks were effectively a voting contest, like you're voting for the king or queen of a prom, and it wasn't necessary. And Google, for whatever reason, never understood the context of pages, and so they really just looked at the votes and okay, the most popular thing won. And whereas, we've analyzed over 10 million prompts have generated and looked at hundreds of thousands of citations as a result, if not millions. And so there's a fair amount of understanding in terms of what LLMs are promoting and what they're looking to do. And one of the stats that we like to, and we talk about it in our back and forth on this topic, Isabella, is that 50 to 90% of the links cited by LLMs and the answers we analyzed have a traditional search rank below 20, meaning they're on page 3 or beyond. So yes, absolutely, the models are using the traditional search indexes for URL discovery, but they're trying to surface what they think is canonically correct information. And so they're able to go through thousands and thousands of links. Like, the popular Google stat is 1 out of 100 people go to page 2, 1 out of 1,000 people go to page 3 in the results, and 1 out of 10,000 go to page 4. But the LLMs have infinite patience. They can read every link, and then so what they're trying to do is find the right links. And so it's no longer just the biggest, baddest, most popular person is the one who's going to get cited. It's the one who the LLMs think is more authoritatively correct. And so that changes the landscape. And so you don't have to, so if it's not a popularity contest and you're earnest and you have, to your point earlier, good value in terms of delivering content to users, or you're saying the right things, you'll surface. I think one of the interesting things is LLMs love canonical product description pages, which traditional search, that was like the hardest thing always to find, is like I bought a new TV and dang it, I just want to find the damn dimensions of the thing so will it fit on my mantle. and you have to go page after page of Google results to find the dang PDP. And so I think that's the type of thing that they're trying to do, which is, oh, if you have a product that people are looking for, they might actually find the actual canonical page for that. And I think that's one of the biggest changes is the LLMs have the ability to look for what's correct, not what's just popular.
I have a love hate with we're doing hot takes, right? So I'll throw some hot takes out there. Like, so on the product marketing side, right? Like we've seen if you search for market research on a competitor, and it'll cite if a competitor has a comparison page, so company A versus company B, and you don't, it will cite and pull everything from the competitor's comparison page, which sucks because if you don't have one and it's seeing that as like the authority, it's going to pull all the kind of all the bad things about your company that the competitor is saying. And I saw something yesterday about like pricing pages. Again, love hate with pricing pages as well, but it was basically saying you may not show up as the authoritative figure in an LLM if you don't have a pricing page. Well, if you're not a product-led growth company or pricing's a little bit more custom like an enterprise level, that's tricky too. So it's all of your points are so valid. It's just so funny to me in a hot take way of like,
oh no, it's a great point. You as a product marketer have to live and die by this.
right.
And so, but to my point about speed,
oh yeah,
the challenge of LLMs and marketing to them, right? And the way we like to think about them is think of them as like your channel sales rep or a sales rep in a retail store where you've got multiple brands on a wall behind them and they have to pick the right pair of shoes, and which pair of shoes are they going to recommend to the customer who just walked into the shoe store. And to that point of the good news is they're at least relying on brands for the canonically correct information. The bad news is if you don't have something, they will pick a competitor's point of view. Now I'll go back to the good news. The good news is the average age of a cited reference is 86 days old, and it's falling 10 to 15% quarter over quarter. So if it's something doesn't exist, you can get it changed and get it updated. Like the problem with Google was Google searches, it updated its index every 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
So if something was wrong, you were like stuck for a year and a half. Oh my God, that would just every morning you'd wake up as a product marketer and probably want to like claw your eyeballs out. And you could only do that for 18 months. But now it's going to be 86 days. Next quarter it's going to be 78 days. Next quarter after that it'll be 7 days, and 60, then 50, and whatever. And so you're at least able to influence and change things much more quickly. Now, to my earlier comment about speed is, again, it's declining. I mean, our expectation is we're going to wake up in a year or two, and the LLMs are investing in all these huge data farms, these server farms, not for pre-training, for real-time internet processing. So the LLM is going to be responding to, like, you publish something, and like a day later, they're going to be reacting to it. And that's a world I'm not sure marketers are ready for, where literally you're going to be having to generate content, produce things, interact with the models like on a day-by-day basis. It's going to be a radical shift in what's happening. So by the way, we see that the competitor, your references in our data set, and we see a lot of competitors doing comparisons and pricing. So Michelle, I think you're absolutely right in at least pointing out some of the things that marketers are going to be thinking about. But the speed thing really is going to show up in a way that's just, I don't know if everyone's ready, if marketers are ready for this real-time competitive battle in a way that we haven't had to deal with before.
Yeah, it goes back to the amount of content, right? It goes back to the earlier in the conversation, the amount of content that companies are having to put out. And I guess going over to switching gears a little bit on that same lane, the future of email marketing lies in AI-driven writing campaigns that are end-to-end with minimal human intervention. Do you think that is possible, or it's going to be possible or impossible, Akbar?
It is definitely possible. It is like even possible to very large extent even now. So at MailModo, we are launching our AI marketing automation, with just prompt you can do complete email creation, segmentation, journey, campaigns, everything. And we always right now at least we want human in the loop to review it and then publish it. But slowly I feel that as soon as the user has signed up and we learn about them, how they are using the product, etc., everything will be automated. That's I how I think that the world is going forward.
It's a lot of automation. Moving over to you, Michelle. The product management, I always get this word confused. PMM, right? Let's just keep it PMM, product manager marketing. So that role will shrink as AI takes over positioning and persona work. Do you think that that is fact or fiction?
Hi, fake news. So kind of, I mean, what, even Todd and I are talking about, like, being a product marketer in the world of AI is like such a blessing and a curse. I think that the product marketers that learn how to use it to our advantage are the ones that are going to do really, really well. Do I think our role will shrink? No. I think how we do our role will definitely change. But I mean, even my mother, who says she's tech savvy, 80 years old, like, bless her, was texting me last night, and she's like, primal motivations. I'm like, what do you mean, Mom? She knows I work in AI. I'm like, what do you mean primal motivations? A very vague text from your mother. But it actually dug into kind of things that we can do well that, AI can't, like the emotion and empathy and, things that we as humans need to bring into that process. So can AI write a good messaging and positioning doc? Sure. Without good strategic input, it's not going to do anything well. I've seen situations where product marketers try and write like a differentiation document, right? Like, how are we truly different than the competitors? And it's all kind of like fluff. Like, what we need to decide, what hill are we willing to die on, or what do we really need to tell sales reps are our differentiators to actually win deals in the human to human conversations that we're having. And so I'm very passionate about the fact of, as product marketing, and there's, search results, and what content do we write, and how do we bring new products to market? What even new products should we build when AI can help people catch up so quickly, right? You might see a competitor doing something. Well, the time it takes to do something similar is a lot shorter now. So there's all these different moving parts that I think really AI is going to help product marketers do those things. Give us, Todd, to your point, the patience that we might not necessarily have. Like, there's not enough hours in the day to read 1 million articles from a competitor, but there's so many ways to use AI to make our jobs more meaningful and leave us more to like the strategic, even creative side of product marketing, which I think is why many of us are in there anyway. So I'm really excited for it. Back to my one word, excited about how that's going to make us do our jobs better and help me do the things that I enjoy about my job.
I'm just curious, as a product marketer, which AI tools have you found to be more useful, or which tools have just really shifted the way you work?
Oh my God, Isabella's gonna laugh because I feel like there's so I'm like, I try a ton. Some, probably 80% of the tools I try suck. So to your point, product marketing covers a lot of ground, right? We do customer research, comp intel, analyst relations, some content creation. So I say that only because we have a broad set of things that we do. So every product marketer is a little bit different, and I'm sure I'm not going to get your name right. Shafiq can probably speak to this as well. But a couple that have made my life easier. One is I really love Glean. If anyone uses that internally, the reason I like Glean is that you can search something, a sales rep, anyone in the company can search something, right? And say, okay, how would we win in a retail deal, for example? And it'll pull all the decks, all the Slack messages, emails, anything related to that question internally, and like surface it up. But the other reason I really love Glean is we can build agents within Glean that is connected to all of our internal resources. Again, our Slack channels, our Drive, everything internally. And we can build agents within the system that aren't like generally available, like as a chat GPT might be like an agent mode on chat GPT. And the reason I like that is everyone in the company can build it. So it's kind of like creating this AI vibe within our company where we're building agents like a competitor comparison agent or an RFP responder. So if a sales rep wants to input questions they're getting in an RFP, it'll surface the material to give them answers to respond to that RFP based on the most recent, most accurate information. So there's I think part of the episode that I had with Isabella was like, what tools are good for each part of product marketing? I would say Glean is one, just because of how it's surfacing that information so that people don't have to necessarily come to me and ask the same question 1 million times. I think it's making us self-sufficient, but as the way that the company is becoming more used to like building their own agents and using AI to our advantage is more of like a cool, movement to see. But yeah, we should talk because there's so many more.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more, because I think also to both what Akbar and Todd were sharing, right? It's like the amount of content and automation, and then you also still have the fact of like it's a pivot. It's like a role pivot. It's not necessarily like the role is disappearing. It's just pivoting to these new tasks. Thank you for sharing. So going over to Shafiq now, AI adoption is progressing more rapidly in startups than in enterprises. Do you think that this is true or false?
I think, yeah, so it's likely to happen, right, Isabella? So essentially, if you look at how startups and enterprises are different in the ways and in the way they operate, right? So from a cultural slash day-to-day working standpoint, you would see that startups are more agile. They want to do and try new things faster. From an enterprise standpoint, these are strikingly different, I'd say. And the reason being, because if you look at, let's say, average age of an employee, and I'm saying this because I have worked in startups before, and now I'm a part of a enterprise SaaS company. Um, so the average age of employees is in late 30s here, versus in startups it's about 25, 27, and that impacts a lot on what new things you try and do and how quickly you adopt these new things. The other bit is about, you know, trying out these new way of working. Uh, in startups, it is mostly bottom-up approach, wherein teams and individuals start using it, and then the adoption takes place from there on. With respect to enterprises, they typically want like a top-down kind of a thing. They are looking for, uh, you know, case studies or proof points even before trying a new product. So for a technology like AI or anything that is promising so much, there is little to no evidence in the initial stages, and hence these enterprises are sort of reluctant to try out new products. That is my sense from the experience of having worked in startups as well as enterprises.
That's good insights. And now moving over to Andres. So AI generated ads are expected to outperform human made ones by 2026. Do you think that this is future or a fantasy?
I think that could be a somewhat realistic timeline. I wouldn't necessarily bet on it, but I mean, end of 2026 is 16 months away from now. That's decades in AI times. If you think about it, like just like our progress this year, we got 4.0 image generation and we got VO3 for video, which were like huge breakthroughs compared to what we had previously. So, well, currently, I think, and I see this from our in our users and from my own experience, I don't think the technology is there yet to really, on average, outperform regular ads. It's realistic for me that next year we could have just advances in technology that really make AI generated video and images undistinguishable from real, or let's say naturally or organically generated or human generated images and videos, and they could just outperform. Yeah, I think that's realistic. I wouldn't necessarily bet on the timeline, but that's that will happen eventually. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. So we're gonna go into this next section now, where everyone's going to share a little bit about the episodes that we recorded. We had a really great time doing that. And if anyone has any questions that you'd like to ask, also feel free to put them in the chat. And as soon as we're done going through a quick little recap, we'll pull some questions from the chat for the guests to answer. So, okie dokie. So I'll go back in order. So Todd, I know when we talked about, I think really everyone in here has done such an amazing job at sharing very valuable insights. Can you share a little bit of why people should watch the episode that we recorded?
One of the biggest areas of interest right now, I think, in marketing or AI for marketers is AI search, and starting out to the topic of, I said, what LMs think about your brand and what to do about it. And it is the first time since the rise of search that marketers have a greenfield to try to improve themselves and have an opportunity to gain market share. I think the thing that in the episode that we'll start talking about is, how do you think of ChatGPT not as a tool or other LLMs, but as a distribution channel? And right, the future of AI is in part a tool, like and Michelle and Andres have talked about that in terms of how they serve marketers and are building tools to help them. And I think from our point of view is we look at the LLMs as a distribution channel. They're like a reseller. And I think one of the most fascinating things as you start diving into AI search is how you start realizing that, unlike traditional SEO, which became very technical and link building, and like, remember the just endless debates about folders versus subdomains. How many freaking years did we spend debating that? Right? And that, I love Michelle's, her eyes rolling, and she just is reliving these just ridiculous discussions we had for years. Like, is that marketing? No, it's not. And when you start diving into understanding what LMs think about you, what you understand is how much of it is kind of the reemergence of product marketing and how the LMs are regurgitating your marketing messages, and whether sometimes they do a good job, sometimes they do a bad job. I'm sure Michelle has seen examples of, like, you look at competitors who looked at the comparison sheet where they, we're talking down about you, and you're like, I want to do something about that, right? I want to change that messaging. And I think that's one of the fascinating things is that marketers, they start diving into AI search is, there's just it's a very different landscape. And I think we'll get into explaining how and why it's different, and sort of then how you think about the opportunities and some of the lessons that we're already seeing in terms of what marketers can think about it and what they can walk away with, and kind of what can they do about it.
Yeah. Yep, our episode is really awesome. I learned a lot. It definitely, thank you, Todd, for being a part of it. Definitely one of the biggest things I took away from it, and you'll watch it when we release it, or I guess the episodes are now out. So one of the biggest key takeaway was you showed me a little trick for how to rank faster on the LLMs, and you actually gave us a case study in the episode. So watch it. I'll give you a hint. I don't want to give it away, but watch for the part where he starts talking about. I believe it was like a healthcare related company.
Yep.
Yep. And he talked about a little trick that all of us can implement right away to have a better chance of showing up. So going over now to Akbar.
Yeah, so I was not a speaker, but I've seen some of the videos, and what I still have to see all, and but what I really liked is like the playbooks and actionable insights that have been shared by all the guests. So I'm gonna take some time and like look at all the videos again, and will implement some of those strategies in my business as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to really quick, while we're here with Aquabear, I just wanted to give you a huge thank you again for all the collaboration that we've done with Melmodo. I've really appreciated everything we've done, and for season 2 for all the guests. So thank you so much.
Thank you to all of you actually for doing this, and I see that it is a huge content, and the marketers are gonna love it.
Absolutely. Michelle. So Michelle and I have like a funny behind the scenes that we should have recorded. But it's okay. We'll share it as we get soon, I guess. I don't know. It's up to you if you want to release the our little inside joke. But Michelle, your episode is packed with a lot of tools. It was packed with a lot of value. What can you share? Like, why should people watch our episode?
Oh my gosh. So other than us like having a really good time and nerding out, so I think what I really enjoyed about our episode is it's kind of like a crash course, right? Again, there's so many things that product marketers do, and so I'm hopeful people will listen and take like one thing away or one tool to try or one thing that they hear and they're like, oh my God, my life is going to be so much better knowing that this exists, right? So I think it's kind of like a crash course and a good high level overview of a lot of things to try. And then you can dig in, right? Then I think the next part comes in when you're applying this or you're trying this and like how to dig deeper for your business or use case. I think that I want to get back to my excitement word, right? To get the people excited about how to use these tools to their advantage to like really make product marketers rock stars in their organizations. Like I'm very passionate about using AI to your advantage to like do those really cool things. I think we had a question in the chat, for example, from Anushree about product marketers getting closer to customer pain points, or does it risk oversimplifying them? And I think back to even marketing in general, like proceed with caution, right? Don't just copy and paste a blog post that ChatGPT gives you, right? Same with customer pain points. I mean, AI won't be having the human-to-human interactions, the human-to-human conversations that we're having that ultimately, again, relying on those, those, human motivations, like what can you tell is like really a struggle for people, like that human empathy and emotion that we can sense, that we can feel. Sure, AI can surface up conversations where that might be good to listen to versus with thousands of conversations that our sales rep might be having. So sure, it can help surface those specific interactions or comments or calls that maybe we need to listen to, so we're not manually digging through all of them probably like we used to. But ultimately, like it's up to us to validate what AI is saying. Same with search results on an LLM and anything else that comes through that is AI generated, right? So I think, again, AI can be our superpower to do some of the grunt work that we don't want to do, like listening to thousands of calls manually. But at the end of the day, it's up to us to really push that forward. So I think, besides our episode just being really fun, and I don't mind giving a teaser. So we're waiting for this thing to upload, right? I've had horror stories of like things uploading, which is a whole nother conversation. But so we're like waiting for this to upload. I'm like, let's try some of the fun things you can do with AI. And so and no one knows, Isabel has like the cutest dog in the world, and I have one as well. He's my child. So we put our pictures of our dogs into ChatGPT and we said, turn our dogs into humans. And some of the results were just like hilarious. If you haven't tried that, like highly recommend. If you do nothing else with your day with AI, put your pet picture in, ask them to turn it into a human. I've also asked it to turn me into a dog, and like that's even weirder. Maybe don't recommend that, but yeah, we had a great time just seeing what AI would come up with. Yeah, Isabella, your dog picture was questionable of what it spit out.
Oh my gosh. It was. And if you guys do try that prompt, so basically just put the picture of your dog, put it in ChatGPT, ask it to turn into a human, post it in the comment section of this video because I would love to see it. Yeah, that was really fun. Thank you, Michelle. It was really great also recording the episode with you. And now over to Andres. So when we recorded our episode, we were talking all about ads and analytics and some of the cool projects that you have been spearheading within your company. Can you share a little bit more about our episode and why should people watch it, please?
Yeah, sure. I think it's an interesting episode because typically the conversation around AI and ads or paid media tends to be dominated more with everything related to ads generation, which perhaps generates more hype, understandably, because it's something you can just directly see. But I think that the technology still isn't there yet for ad generation. There's still a lot of different use cases for AI for paid ads in different areas like reporting, creative analytics, and so on. So I think it was good to have the time to speak more around the topic. Hopefully share some tips that are relevant for anyone running paid campaigns, and hopefully incentivizing people to test tools like ours, but also any of the other tools that are out there in the market and see how they can save time from their typical day-to-day task that performance marketers need to do. So yeah, hopefully they learn something. Hopefully they are eager to test new tools and save some time.
Absolutely.
Can I just give like a shout out to Andres real quick? Because I used to do, I was a product marketer and email marketer for the L'Oreal brands, and even just like doing product shoot days, like videos of the product and like everything that goes into it was so much time, so much money. Like we were sending emails every day and they wanted videos on, Facebook, whatever, like just generating ads and paid media generally was like such a process. So I think we're getting there closer maybe with humans, but like from a product perspective, like now I'm going to go check out what you're doing because having done that previously myself, like even like food commercials, my God, such a process. Anyway, I love that you're doing that because it's so important.
Absolutely. Yeah. The amount of manual work that goes into it before AI is insane to what we can do with AI now. So thank you, Andres, again for joining me on that episode. That was another really insightful episode. There's a few other people that couldn't join us here today, but we covered a lot on AI agents as well, and I think all the episodes are now live, right? So I think we'll share the link probably in the chat, I'm assuming. And then in the meantime, I'll go ahead and start a Q&A. So I'll start with the first question. This was asked by, I hope it's pronounced Gul. Building AI apps is one thing, but actually how to market is another. Where and how can one market AI apps? Who would like to take that one?
I can start. In our case, we had success with SEO initiatives, with paid ads, and with word of mouth and, let's say, influencer marketing. We didn't have a huge paid ads budget, so we had to be somewhat resourceful and test different techniques. And yeah, that combination so far has worked for us.
Yeah, I think that there are plenty of examples of how other AI companies have done that. I think founder of Gamma, Lee, he has shared a really good thread on Twitter about how they approach marketing for Gamma, and Gamma is now right now like blown up, and influencer marketing seems to be like working really well. And what one insight that they shared is that it is not about like hiring the best or the most popular influencers, but it is about hiring a lot of micro influencers and making the word of mouth work for your product. So that's something important.
One of the things that we see is that there's plenty of AI app startups using Gumshoe, and it's in terms of discovering what are people talking about in a product category. We're sort of helping surface that, like LMs are good about, oh, here's the things that we're finding people talking about. And so it's a good way to help you understand what are the topics that your potential customers are interested in. One of the interesting things for AI apps, if you're especially like a developer-focused AI app, one of the fascinating things is your Claude code, as a great example, which underlies Lovable and Cursor and Bolt and a lot of these generative code apps. It's effectively already an example of agentic decisioning, because whatever Claude is recommending, whatever tech or platform underneath it is what gets chosen. And so I think that's one of the interesting things is how do you make sure that you're a part of what the AI would ultimately recommend and what to do about that. And so I think that's sort of an interesting perspective from AI apps, which is the people are really relying on LLMs for those recommendations and sort of optimizing yourself for positioning in that. Again, our product helps you do that, is an area where we find success with a lot of startups. And to my earlier conversation point of 86 days old is the average citation, your ability to influence the models and what they're thinking and reacting, you can absolutely change their perspective on you or understanding in 90 days or less. That's such a radically different timescape versus traditional search that, to our earlier comment about speed and our marketers ready for this, is that, so that's a way to think about that and what you potentially do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to add to that, I would also say like having your proper like marketing strategy, right? And if you're developing apps, one strategy that I keep seeing across the board, and I don't know if you guys follow the story of Cal AI. It's like a 17 or 18-year-old kid. He built an AI app that all it does is you take a picture of whatever food item you have in front of you. It gives you the calorie count super easy, super simple, and he was able to grow that using influencer marketing. So there's like tools like Stormy.ai, for example, and that can pretty much help you automate your entire influencer marketing campaign, and that can help you get out there and be seen. So Michelle, do you have anything else to add to this one?
I'm like, I need to go build an app now. That turns dogs into people. I mean, I think there's just like with clothing and other things like that. I think there are some good marketplaces that are developing out there. You think of Poshmark for clothes and buying. I think we'll be seeing more and more marketplaces, things like Agent.ai, where you can kind of see what's out there and what's possible. Agent.ai is cool because it's more agent specific, not necessarily apps, but you can like see what other people are building, what's working, what's not working. People rate it, have comments on which ones they like. There's awards for it, like things like that. And I think we'll eventually get to the point where we can do that for apps as well, where there's a really strong marketplace that people can go to based on use case, industry, all the things that we know and love already. So I think that's where it's going.
Absolutely. So we probably have time maybe for like one or two more questions. I'm going to bring up Annie's question, which is a very common question, and I think will be really insightful. So maybe if one of you guys wants to answer this one, how do you weigh benefits of AI versus security and privacy?
I guess so. Working for a customer data platform where we have billions of profiles and PII data and like really important data, it's just understanding like the underlying security of the models and the LLM you're using. For example, when DeepSeek came out, right? Of course, I'm one of the nerds that like took the time to read through all the terms and conditions and like the security documentation, and even that versus like ChatGPT, DeepSeek was quite concerning versus what ChatGPT has. And even within ChatGPT, there's certain things that I don't know if everyone knows about, for things like making sure that it's not searchable in Google and like ways to secure it. So it is very tricky. I back to my mother is like, don't put anything in there that you wouldn't want to tell your mom, kind of thing, right? It's like general, security procedures like that. There are tools that you can use internally. Again, that's one reason that we use Glean, is like for internal security when we're searching for things that are internal to us within our Google Drives, etc. So just proceed with caution, do your research, and if not, make sure your security team does. I know a lot of companies have a pretty rigorous AI policy and process you have to go through to get tools for internal use approved. But to Annie's point, and our theme of speed, you want to move fast, you want to try these tools, but it's not, if you're dealing with something like customer data, it's not, my 2 cents is, it's not worth the risk of just doing it. Make sure that you do have kind of the process in place to make sure that wherever that data, that information is going is secure. And there's, feel free to reach out for how I'm doing that for my business, because I am trying a lot of tools at Treasure Data. But yeah, proceed with caution for sure.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'm going to do 2 more questions. So the next one is kind of piggybacking off of this one, right? Like, what safeguards or processes do you implement or prevent AI hallucinations from appearing in published content? Does anyone want to take that one, or I can answer?
Boy, that's a $64 million question for sure. I mean, I think one of the first things is, from our point of view, would be, do you understand what LMs know about you? Do they know enough about you? Is there enough out there about you? Right? To Michelle's comment about, oh, you're missing a pricing sheet, that might hallucinate. They're missing a key piece of information, so they will fill in the blanks. They don't like to not answer questions. And so I think your job as a marketer is sort of to understand, what questions do you make sure you need to be answered, and doing that. Our platform will help automate some of that work in terms of surfacing questions and then helping you generate the answers for you as generative content. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing, which is, all right, let's make sure we understand what exists already, and if it doesn't exist in terms of our content landscape, our content index, that you're going to fill in those blanks, because AI will fill them in for you if you haven't given them the answer ahead of time.
Oh my gosh, I'm like so triggered. Yeah, yeah. If you want horror stories of how,
do we need a therapy session, Michelle?
I do. Please, this is my therapy. Yeah, thank you. Honestly, probably. But like, I mean, some of the horror stories I mentioned, like you see what gaps get filled in, and you can see if you ask for citations, right, it'll show where it's pulling the gap fillers from, and then you can say, okay, crap, they're pulling from my competitor's page about us. We need to build something, right? And I think there are some tools that we use to show what those gaps are. Todd, probably you have better suggestions on that than I do, but it'll show like, what are growth opportunities if you're not ranking, if you put in what are the best tools or best products for X, Y, and Z, right? If you put that into an LLM and you aren't, your company, your brand, whatever isn't ranking, you need to know why. And there are tools that you can use to kind of see, okay, why am I not ranking for that? But everything Todd mentioned as best practices is super important. Yeah, like you said, you don't want Mad Libs and having AI fill that in for you. It never ends well.
Yes, never let AI think.
Absolutely.
Ironically enough.
And then the last question, which ties in, there's two questions asking similarly, but going over to Marco's question. So with so many brands now adopting AI in marketing, what strategies can companies use to ensure their AI-powered campaigns stand out instead of blending in? And this will be the final question.
I would start this one by saying that I think the key is adopting AI not to outsource, let's say, the critical creative task that you actually want to do as a marketer, but the time-consuming, energy-draining processes you would like to just, let's say, automate, delegate to, let's say, a junior employee. That's, in my view, the typical best use case of AI. So the way to not to blend in is just to keep coming up with human, interesting, unique ideas and not delegate that process to ChatGPT and just without any critical process run whatever idea exists in that output. I think, that's the recipe to just exactly to blend in, not to stand out.
Awesome, thank you. So so I think that kind of brings us up here to time. If anyone else has any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll go ahead and answer them in the comment section afterwards. And also, if you do the dog prompt, please put the dogs in the comments. We definitely want to see those. But thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for being a part of the live, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yeah,
Don't forget to watch the
Thank you.
episodes. They're packed with value. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Thanks, everybody.